Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over a hike that me and some of my family and a friend went on, Evanoff Provincial Park. I'm going to share some tips and some pictures and videos and a warning. So this is a really great hike. This is the main British Columbia BC Parks website, Evanoff Provincial Park, and of course there's some warnings here. Notice this one up here, it talks about rushing water conditions, and you're going to see some of that in the video and whatnot that I show. It is pretty high, and you will get wet. Almost 95% sure that you'll get wet, but that's just the way it is. So anyway, let's take a look at how to get to this park. You can just plug it into Google Maps, as you can see here. It's about a 2-hour drive. And I just took the main route through Highway 16. I should mention Google Maps shows you going through Upper Fraser Road, and that's this way, which is a nice scenic site, but it is possible, if you look at my mouse here, to drive all the way out to here, and there is this logging road that hooks right up by the bridge that crosses the Fraser. I think this is the Beauron Forest Service Road here. I just zoom in here. So this logging road, I have gone down this before, and it does go all the way through. There's some bridges and stuff you cross. It hooks up to the paved road right here, and then you cross over the Fraser and off you go. So that's just a little note. So let's take a look at the description of this trail. So the Caledonia Ramblers, pretty good group here in Prince George. They have sort of a description of this trail. A couple things to note. 11.6 kilometers to the lake up top and 15 kilometers to the summit, to like the top of the mountain. Duration 6 to 8 hours. I would say probably closer to 8 hours. Give yourself a lot of time. It is very strenuous. There's some sketchy parts right near the caves where the water comes out of the mountain. You're kind of like on the side of a rock cliff, and not very much room to go through there. Could be difficult to bring a dog there. I'm sure a skilled dog that goes on many hikes with you could probably make it, but I would just be very careful there. So it is a strenuous hike. What else could be said? So I purchased this local hiking book that comes with the CD. And they talk about the trail here. I had the GPS coordinates. I didn't use the GPS coordinates. And so I'm going to give you guys a kind of a warning about that. So with that said, I'll come back to the pictures in a minute, but I just want to bring up Google Earth at this point. And so Google Earth, this is the logging road that goes there. And just to talk about how to get there, once you get to the Fraser Bridge here and you cross over the Fraser, what you're going to do is you're going to come up to this little fork up here, and there's a bunch of signs that talk about going to different places. You're going to turn right towards Pass Lake. You're going to take all the signs that talk about Pass Lake. And then you're going to come over here to this first turnoff here, and it comes up pretty quick. And this is Pass Lake Road, so you turn left. And you just follow this road. There's a bunch of side roads that fork off. And this first section here, there's a whole bunch of logging equipment and weight scales and stuff, because there's active logging going on here, so be careful. But you just take this road for about 40-something kilometers until you get out here. And you start coming near Pass Lake, which is right here. You come here to the north end, and you're going to see some signs that say Fang Mountain Trailhead. As soon as you see the sign on the right-hand side of the road, you immediately take that next right, and there's a little, which is right up here, and there's a little drive section to the parking area. So take that. You're going to need 4x4 to do this last part. You probably do not need 4x4 for the rest of this road. It wasn't in that bad shape, just a bunch of washboard and potholes, so be careful of that. So once you get to the trailhead, let's talk a little bit about this. So this little area here is sort of the parking area, small turnaround. You can park probably maybe 5 vehicles there, but it would get pretty tight. And as soon as you park here, there's a trail off to the left here. So you take that trail. It's very muddy, and it's quite wet taking this. And let's see what the picture shows here, if anything. Yeah, so that's kind of what the parking area looks like. And you cross over a creek. I don't know if any of these pictures are going to show that. These are old pictures from years ago. Yeah, that's what the trail looks like there. But anyway, so there comes a point where the trail forks left and right. And before I continue talking about all of this, I'm going to show you what that picture looks like. Just because I want to help you guys avoid a mistake that I made. I do not see that picture here. That's right, it's in the video here, sorry. Alright, so I'll make this video full screen, and I'll put some of these pictures and clips in a minute. So this is me with my GoPro strapped to my chest, and I'm walking on the trail. It comes right up to the cedar tree here. Now take a look carefully here. On the left, you could see fresh footprints and whatnot going that way. You really do not want to take that side. Do not turn left. Go to the right, because this is actually the main trail that goes up to the Fang Caves. It's well marked, and this is an actual trail that goes all the way up to the lake. So just notice this cedar tree here where the trail forks, and you're going to want to stay to the right. All right, so with that said, let's go back to this trail. So what we ended up doing was we took the left fork, and this is just using my phone coordinates, and the white lines are the lines that we took. The blue lines are what the main trail should be. So we kind of took, and it's marked, the trail's marked even if you go left, but you kind of start scrambling up this mountain, and there is a trail for a while, but I would say right about at this point on the mountain, you kind of like lose the trail, and you're just climbing up Devil's Club and all this other kind of brush that just pulls you down, and you're going up a 45-degree angle, and it's just a misery. So we climbed up to the side over here, and then we scrambled up here. And right along the face here, this is a very steep cliff. And you can see here, we came up to this point where it looked like it was flattening off, and we thought, great, it's going to be easy sailing from here. And then we walked over here to the edge of this cliff, and we're like, okay, maybe it's not. We can't get down here. Because if you take a look, exactly where we were, right? There's this giant cliff here. And so we had to keep scrambling up the mountain. So we kind of went up again, and then just started following the mountain here. And then at this point, when it started going down the mountain, we could see this peak over here. I believe this is Fang Mountain over here. And I believe if I scroll up a bit here and get this angle right to see where it is in connection to everything else, we're still a fair ways away from where we wanted to go. We would still have to cross over. You know, we're on this mountain, and by this point we had been hiking for about 4 hours. It was about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. You know, it was a beautiful view to see this, but to get over there would have taken us another 2 hours, and then we would have to come down. So we decided to abort because we took that left fork. Had we stayed on the main trail, I believe with the energy we had, with a nice marked trail taking this, which I've taken before, we would have made it okay. And you can see here, let me just talk about the trail a bit. So you scramble up this way, and this is kind of through lush forest, switchbacks back and forth. It gets pretty steep. And you just keep climbing in elevation, and then you get to this point where there's this rock slide, and there's giant boulders. Just keep a close eye out. Many of the boulders are marked with a big orange trail marking, like a metal one stamped into the boulder. So you pretty much just go across to this side, and the trail really does just follow the creek anyway. So then you start climbing up again, scrambling up this area here until you get to the caves. And the caves, I'm not sure which section they're at. Get a picture here. I think up in this area you see the water coming out of a cave. Yeah, right here. So once you get into this area here, it gets pretty sketchy. Climbing along the edge of the mountain here, it's very steep into the valley, and it's very steep on the right. It's pure rock. Once you get past that, a bit more scrambling up here until you get sort of to this plateau. And then from here, you are pretty close. The lake is right over there. Up here, there's a lake here as well. Smaller one here, bigger one up here. This is where I went camping in 2011 with some friends. Just to point out a few things, assuming you make it up here onto this plateau, and this is that lake up top, you want to go up this section here. It's just gorgeous 360-degree views. You can go up here and look all the way around. You can come up the peak here and keep walking. But there is, if you look up here, this little black dot on the side of this mountain, somewhere around here, you'll see a big cave. And that's pretty cool to hike up to go in there and check it out. Make sure you bring some headlamps or something like that. But really overall cool trip. With that, I'm going to show some pictures. So first, a few pictures. This is when I drove towards there in May. So pretty much lots of snow was still there. You can see the logging roads here. You can start to see mountains in the distance. And this little guy here, this was on Pass Lake Road, a little moose. That was pretty cool. This is Pass Lake in May. So you can see you're not going to be able to hike this trail until at least middle of June or later. This is what it looks like in May. So this is the area up where you would be hiking, Fang Mountain, Evanoff Mountain. And just to show, at kilometer 41, right after that, you're going to see Evanoff Provincial Park, this sign right here. And right after this sign, there's that turnoff to the parking lot to get to the trailhead. So it's literally right here, but it was covered in snow, so you're not going to do that in May. And there's a bunch of bridges that you have to cross over to get there. So this was just this past week in August of 2020. If you take Upper Fraser Road, you're going to see Eaglet Lake, beautiful lake. Looks like this right here. Really cool area to kind of hang out. The road just follows the lake. This is sort of a rest area here on the side. Another view of the rest area. Now, here's the trailhead. So this is us parking at the trailhead of Evanoff Mountain / Fang Mountain trailhead. And there's enough room here to turn around. Taking some pictures. This is hiking up. This is looking back down into the valley. You can see we're on some rocks here. Getting a little bit higher. Now this is after scrambling maybe 3/4 up the mountain, and this is taking the left trail. And this over here would be Charles Mountain. That's what we're looking at over here. So it's kind of looking towards the west. That's a zoom in of Charles Mountain. Bunch of pictures and just showing what it looks like. So this was, right, I believe, when we were heading back down. In the middle of nowhere. This is a video. I'm going to go back. So this is when we decided to head back, and if I can show you what I mean by that. So if we look here at the trail that we took, I'm the white line. That's what my cell phone picked up as sort of geo coordinates of the trail that I took. And you can see here, we decided to go down this valley because we wanted to head home, and I knew the way home was in this valley. I remembered from coming up. So you can see how steep it is here when I get it from this view. So we came down here, and basically we were sliding on our behinds down some vegetation, and there's a little creek here in the middle, very small one. But we slid all the way down until we hit the main creek that flows from the lake up there, and that's a lot bigger. And that's where we hit the Fang Caves right there. So let's take a look at those pictures. This is us sliding down the rock side, and there is this little creek, which is the big one flowing from the Fang Caves.
In the middle of nowhere.
And this is us hooking right into where the river flows out of the mountain. So in here, you're going to see in a little bit where the water flows out. Let's just take a look at this video.
I'm not going to die. There's the river.
And this was the section of rock that we came down to get back onto the main trail. So this is now what that looks like. So higher up the trail, if you had gone on the main trail, you're going to see water going into Fang Caves. And this is the other side where the water comes out of the caves. And just to show you perspective of how big it is.
Pretty cool caves.
There's my 16-year-old daughter standing right at the entrance. It's pretty big. All right, get past this, and then this is the trail leading away from the caves, and it goes pretty steep down, following the creek, and eventually goes to the rock slide. Now, this is a good picture to show. So when you take the left fork at that cedar tree, you end up going up this mountain up here. And there's not really much of a trail. You end up way up there, and you can't just turn to go down into the valley because there's this giant cliff here. You really have to go either here, but this is all just dangerous and fissures here and very steep. So you pretty much have to go all the way to where we went and then come back down the valley if you decide to go that way and you want to go to the main attraction up top, which is where all that beautiful lake is and the scenery. This is the valley that we came down, so we went way up there and then we came down this steep, steep valley. And this is us after the Fang Cave, water flowing out of it. This is what the trail looks like going down from there. It's the main trail now, which we hooked back into. And this was when I was on the left fork and I was on top of that mountain, that huge mountain with the cliff. I looked across the way towards the south and I saw this, and I think there's a big waterfall popping out of the mountain there somewhere. So I just wanted to point that out. Saw it there, and I tried to zoom in as much as I could. Kind of looked pretty cool. This is a picture of us. Oops. On top of the mountain. Right about here. Right about this section, looking over at this peak right here, which is, one peak away from the main area that you want to go to, but still very cool. We could have gone further, but again, it was pretty late in the day, so we decided to call it quits. That's what it looks like from that part of the mountain. This is a picture of right near the beginning of the trail. I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes into the trail, you have to cross over that creek. And it's because the water's flowing very high, this is what it looks like. You have this wooden plank, and then it's very sketchy. Over here, you have this little string that doesn't do anything. You can't really support your weight on it. It's there for psychological help more than anything. I ended up walking in this section here and just crossing there. It's not too deep and probably safer than trying to fall off of this section here. Just some more pictures of the view from that section of the mountain that overlooked Fang Mountain. As we approached it, it was pretty cool. And this is now Evanoff Mountain. So this was Fang Mountain over here to the left, and then you can see it's over there. It'd probably take us another 1.5 to 2 hours to get there to hike from this area. This is us looking back towards the west from the area we were sitting. And this is us heading towards the valley to go back to the main trail. This was what I mean. There's a big valley in here. Between this mountain here and this mountain here, there's that valley, and that's where the main trail is. So we headed down here and hooked into the main trail somewhere down there. All right, so I'm going to show some sped up video using my GoPro. Unfortunately, batteries died in various sections, so I tried to connect it as best as I could. Really, the video only shows us hiking from the beginning of the trail, partway up the mountain, and then the toughest part of the mountain, the battery died, and then up here on top of this mountain here, you're going to see some video and us starting our descent, only a part of the way, and then the battery died again, and I didn't put in new ones. So hope you enjoy this video, and
Dude, you're running right in front of us.
all right, so we're here. This is the trail. You could actually drive up there if this was summertime and just park somewhere off on the side for Evanoff and Fang Mountain. Get to the caves and all that. We are at kilometer 41 past lake. And the actual sign for the turnoff is, I can't really see it from the video here, but see if I can zoom in. Right there. There's a sign there pointing this way saying turn off there.
Alright, so we were here in the middle of nowhere, Evanoff Mountain, but we found the creek, so we should be good. We're on this big rock slide here. Whole crew is here. And we came from way up there. Pretty epic here. but we're tired and we just want to go home. Found the trail. We're not going to die. There's the river. There's the peeps. Pretty cool caves. Water's coming out of there. Crystal clear.